So we are live, and today we are going to have analysis of CDC 2, and the scores are out, and I am not sure how to put it. There are drastic differences in your offline and online mock means test center and home center. There are huge difference that we have seen. It is even higher than the previous time. So let's look at this. This is the past year's score. We have been discussing about this throughout 2020, 111, 99.5, 101 for 99, and 2025 it was 93. Now this is the important point. CAT 2020 and CAT 2025. CAT 2020 99.5 percentile was at 111. CAT 25 it was 93, and Open CDC in between both of the values, that is 101. 99 is 85 and 92, and if you look at 97, the values are very, very close. 95 it is 62, 64. 90 it is 51, 53. So basically I think we have actually created a very good mock. The scores are actually matching the CAT. So so when someone's saying that paper is difficult, but if you look at 2025, it is not difficult. It is still easier than CAT 2025, because that's not that I am saying, it is the data that is telling us. So so what's your opinion, Saji? GP sir, Shiku sir, Jijo sir?
I mean, my opinion. Sorry, my opinion is crystal clear. Okay, so unfortunately, what does percentile mean? Percentile is a rank. Whatever happens, somebody is going to be on top, somebody is going to be on bottom. Whether the test is going to be easy or difficult. So it is invariable that there will be a certain percentage of students who would have found the paper difficult, because that is inevitability, right? So that is inevitability of ranking students from top to bottom. What is more important is I'm not interested in, of course, what is also important is to look at whether the execution in the test actually matched your competence level, which means could you get the marks on the base of actual competence that you have. Did you mess something out in terms of execution? Did you pick did you miss easy questions in QA? Did you get stuck in some DLR sets? Did you get stuck in some VARC questions? Did you manage the test really well? Did you panic in between? I think the score is just one data, but to truly understand what the score actually means, you got to do your analysis. I think there is no point sitting and saying that test is easy, difficult, that those are irrelevant. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, Shashank, isme na, since I have attempted 2 out of the 3 sections and I had a brief look at the 3rd section also. So my feeling was that VARC and quant were not difficult. So when you're saying the scores are matching, it is contribution of DILR, or the lack of contribution from DILR, which would have made this paper difficult. Okay? I could not complete the either of these sections. VARC, I could not get time to complete the 4th or the last passage, and a couple of questions I did not was not clear, so I just left them. But whatever I attempted, I don't think it was a difficult paper. The verbal part in VARC was not difficult. The para summary or the odd statements were fairly straightforward, or even the sentence placement. Similarly, if I look at the 3 RC passages which I did, I think one passage I was a little confused, but again, my funda is very simple. Jitna samajh aaya, based on that, go to the question and mark whatever you can. And there were a couple of questions, obviously, which I had to leave, so I had to leave. Okay, so to me, what is important is what Jijo said. That did you waste your time anywhere? What were the issues? What was the process? What were the behavioral issues in the paper? And I hope when you look at my attempt, you'll be able to pick up a few things. Similarly, when you look at the quant section was not difficult, but in the beginning, I think out of the first 5 or 6 questions, there were 2 or 3 questions which should not have been attempted. Okay, and if students have not attempted those, I would say quant 99.5 percentile or 99 at 36 is an underperformance. Okay, and I barely read the last question. when I was attempting the papers. They had so many easy questions that it was difficult for me to leave questions. Okay, so I barely reached, and last question was a very very easy question. I could not solve because of lack of time, nothing else. I just started solving it when the time got over. Okay, so to me the issue in this paper when it comes to quant would be, out of those first 5-6 questions, did you attempt those 2-3 questions which were not meant to be attempted? If yes, you would struggle. Okay. Thirdly, I had said that in my attempt also after VARC. Now, please understand, when I'm saying this, I'm completely out of practice. This is the first time in the last, since CAT, that I have taken the complete VARC section or the complete quant section. Otherwise, I've been solving. So what also this tells you is that you need to be in touch on a regular basis. If you're not doing daily RC or a test or a section test of verbal, at least 2 section tests a week, you're not doing justice to your preparation. If you're not doing a section test of quant every week, you're not doing justice, because you need to get that practice. Speed comes with practice. And in my case, I was struggling for speed, especially in verbal, not so much in quant, but definitely in verbal, I was struggling for speed. And which is why for the first time in my life, I've not been able to complete the VARC section. But I will again say, to me, based on what I've attempted, VARC was not difficult. Last passage, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I have not attempted, but quant, I can guarantee, say 45 at 99.5 is an underperformance. Okay.
So I have taken the attempt of DILR. I would like to add that solving a complete set in DILR was disastrous. This is the paper where you should not try to solve a set. I'm very sure that
Shashank, 8 minute, थोड़ा सा उसमें मैं change करूँ. Not this is the paper. Every paper you should not be looking at solving the paper, solving the set. And in this paper, Gautam and I were discussing, because I'd also seen a bit of the paper. There was one set which is fairly difficult, but you can solve at least 2 to 3 questions directly. Yeah. So every set had 1 or 2 or 3 questions which were doable. And your job was to attempt those questions. That is what I would only say. And but you have done the complete paper, you have a better idea. So when you say overall it was difficult, again I would say it would mean that possibly the student was trying to attempt all the questions in a set.
Yes.
Okay, देखो सवाल छोड़ने की हिम्मत होगी तो पेपर अपने आप अच्छा हो जाएगा.
Yeah, if I can add something, because I took the DILR, recorded the solutions for that. I think this is one of the worst papers that a person can record solutions for. It is a very good paper to attempt, but it is not a good paper to record solutions for. Now, there's a huge difference between the two things. When you attempt, you have that option, and I hope that you exercise that option to go ahead and solve the questions that seem doable, or the questions that are easy, the questions that are low-hanging fruits. When you record, rather than an attempt, when you record video solutions, you have to solve every single question. So and every Gautam, single set.
And Gautam, that is why I never record solutions. I always record attempts.
Yeah, so Shashank did come and say thank you to me this afternoon that I took the recording rather than the attempt. But yeah, to be very fair, and I think the next slide will showcase that as well. I do not think students have gone ahead and exercised this option of not trying to solve sets, rather trying to solve questions. And if you look at this slide and you look at DILR, for those students who took it from the center, look at the 99 percentile at center. It is 18 marks. If somebody has a pen, please circle it. I don't have it, Shashank, if you have it. It is 18 marks, 99 percentile. Matlab, 6 question net correct. 99. And you're talking a 90 percentile is 11 marks. Now, as somebody who's recorded the entire paper, all the questions, all 22 of them, I can guarantee you that once you look at the recording, and I'm sure you look at Shashank's attempts, you will realize there are about 10 or 11 questions which are very, very doable. And when I say very doable, at least 6-7 of them are easy. They will just require you to read a line, to read one row in a table, and so on and so forth. There were 6-7 such questions. Now, to those of you who were taking it at the center, identifying those 6-7 probably nahi hua because 99-18 pe hai. And like Shashank was stating, and GP rightly pointed out, that's what you need to do in every single paper. But in this paper, if you had spent and you'd gone through RT99, you had spent the initial, I would say 5-7 minutes going through the sets, trying to understand set मांग क्या रहा है, questions मांग क्या रहा है, जो हम हमेशा बोलते हैं, you would have realized that in every single set, a couple of questions ask you to do a lot of hard work. And you would have probably realized that, yes, this set is doable. 2 or 3 questions can be picked up. Let's leave this question. This set is doable, 2 or 3. So if I look at this paper, generally you would state that, you would get one set at least jahan lagta hai pura kar paoge, and 2-3 or set jahan 3 question, 2 question, and so on and so forth. In this paper, all 5 sets had at least 2 or 3 questions which were doable. All 5. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's not a difficult paper. Because all 5 were doable, something could have been done. But if you were determined कि मेरे को एक सेट उठाया है तो पूरा सॉल्व करना है, बहुत प्रॉब्लम हुई होगी. निकल के आके आपने खुद को कोसा होगा, हमें कोसा होगा, कैट को कोसा होगा, and like somebody wrote in the chat box, see you in CAT 2027 शायद बोला होगा. Don't do that. It's a problem with the way you attempted. You still have 3 months. Learn. It wasn't as bad as it seems. More on that when we get to DILR.
Again, I would like to add one point over here. I have been saying this from the very start. Before you pick up paper and pen, read the questions, because questions tell you what set is talking about. Questions and options helps you a lot when you are solving a set. So question se shuru karo, set se nahi. So this is what I think a lot of people are missing out. They just start solving and they are writing something. After that they read the questions and then they realized कि यार इसमें तो 4 केस बन रहा है, मेरा तो एक definite arrangement आ गया. अरे क्वेश्चन तो पढ़ लो पहले. It will give you a very good idea about the set, and that's how you should start any paper or any set. And when you tell people that leave the question, then people start saying कि अगर छोड़ना शुरू करेंगे तो पूरा पेपर ही छूट जाएगा. कुछ करना भी है.
नहीं शशांक, अभी कौन से अच्छे नंबर आ रहे हैं? या ठीक है, सो छोड़ दोगे तो एटलीस्ट नेगेटिव्स कम हो जाएंगे और स्कोर विल इंप्रूव. दैट्स अ गारंटी फ्रॉम माय साइड.
Guaranteed. टाइम भी मिलेगा यार. There were some questions where you
the
were just wasting
problem
time.
होती है, people leave a question after spending a lot of time. The key is to be able to say early, okay, ये मेरी औकात के ऊपर है, and leave the question.
Correct. But so like we see in every Open CDC, home versus test center में काफी फर्क होता है. This time to me, I'm quite surprised. 40 marks. We're saying 40 marks is a huge difference. Humongous. 40 marks standalone is like an 80-82 percentile in CAT. So the difference between take from home and take at center is like an 80 percentile, and hence I keep harping on this, and we've harped on this enough. A lot of students, how you will perform at home versus how you will perform at the center में बहुत फर्क आएगा. तो ये I don't know और कितने बोले. Good to see that this time about 3,000 of y'all did go to the center to write it. But that number ideally for y'all should be close to 10-15,000, if not more. Everybody who wrote it at home, if you have a center near you, you missed out on this opportunity, because this to me clearly showcases that this is an important thing to get a grasp over and go ahead and handle. Like in VARC, if you see, there's not a lot of difference, right? About 6 to 7 marks. Not a lot of difference at the higher percentile, 99, 99.5. But the moment you start getting into DILR, you're talking about 99 by 15 marks. In quant, once again, 15 marks. So it just shows the huge difference that comes when you walk into a center, when you spend your time traveling, when you're tired and your mind is giving up, especially if you've in DILR, like GP said, spend time unable to solve, picked up the wrong set, picked up the wrong questions. That will impact. And guys, this will happen in CAT. You need to have the ability to go ahead and combat it. Enough. We've spoken about it enough. I don't want to harp on it again. But yeah, I think home versus center showcases a real picture this time.
I think there's one point here. I think I thought in a center the DI scores will get impacted much more compared to quant, but I'm surprised to find that. I mean, let's say at a 99 percentile, that difference is almost 15 marks, almost identical to both. So that's one surprise that I see. Otherwise, it's not surprising that the center scores are far lower. But I mean,
18 is shocking, Shivku. 18 for a 99 is shocking. Well, 15
Yeah.
I get 18.
Correct.
90 percentile we're saying 11 marks. मतलब अगर मैं सेट का भी दीवाना हूं तो one set.
नहीं,
Four
and
questions.
Gautam, there was definitely that one set of roots wala jo tha,
Yeah,
which probably all questions you could have solved correctly.
Yeah, maybe that one question on maximum difference might have taken a little bit of time. The second question,
ठीक है,
but
ठीक
other
है.
than that, the three were absolute sitters.
So 3 वहां पे, तो 5, 6, 7 सवाल तो सीधे थे. But ठीक है.
So surprising. But
So
Jiro,
let's
I
go
think
to the
take from moment, take from center in verbal.
I mean, if I actually look at it, it's like compared to DLRQ, the difference is, may not be much, but it's still there. So I don't know how to interpret this data.
Yeah.
When I look at this paper, was it, for example, this was an actual cat, what would be the likely score to get 99 percentile? Would be, is it 40 or is it 44? But in any case, that this clearly tells me that this is the data that we have started seeing last year when we started the exercise of having this CDC run in the center. That environment and environment kind of makes it different. So, and which is something that every student is able to at least students have a chance to experience that, and still many people are taking the test from their home. I don't know, doesn't make sense unless there is no center next to them, next to a house. But I think if they had a chance, I think there are 2 more left. No, I think there's 2 more open.
Yeah, 2 more.
Is it? That's it.
One will be September last week. The next one. Yeah.
Chalo, theek hai. Bubble, you start or?
Yeah.
Actually, I'll share my screen. 1 second.
So while Jiju is doing that, I see Vinay's comment. My mouse was double clicking. Good. It'll happen in cat as well.
Yeah,
Triple
it
click
happened.
bhi ho jayega.
Oh, malab, I remember one exam I was typing 4 once. Some 10 times of 4 came. 4, 4, 4. Like suddenly realized. Okay. So when you actually think about VRC by this kind of data, you can see that across board is more or less the same and is kind of the same. But when I look at the distribution of the test, there are no greens. If I look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I want to count the easy sort of questions, those were 5. The medium was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Medium is 8. And the rest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right, 11. That is a hard test. So, I kind of, if I look at the face of it, it seems to be a paper. I think compared to Open CDC number 1, which I believe was slightly more easier as a test, I think that at least the data suggesting this was difficult. I kind of I was actually surprised. For example, this particular passage. In fact, this passage on A ethics, I was actually surprised that this was an outcome because my feeling was 8 to 12 marks here would have been possible. I also felt that 8 to 12 marks would have been possible. I felt that 8 to 12 marks would have been possible. I actually felt that this is probably, there are a couple of questions which would have been painful, as 6 would have been possible. That's sort of what I felt, right? And if I kind of look at a snapshot in terms of what you went through into the passages, this is each of the passages, the word length, the number of sentences, the words per sentence, and this grade level. There was passages which are very painful. You got a passage which had got words per sentence is close to about 34 words per sentence. It is on philosophy of physics. It was very dense. And it's very natural that many students would have missed it. For example, this particular passage is also very dense as a passage. really dense is the passage. Couple of passages dense, and that kind of reflects in terms of the attempt that I see. If I look at the attempt here and look at the attempt here, this was the lowest one. But if you compare across the passages, one of the passages which are actually scoring was the sort of the second passage. One of the things that you'll never get to know is how difficult or easy a passage. First of all, the question of whether a passage is difficult or easy is a very vague question, because at the end of the day, it is individual questions that matter. Now, within one passage, you could have questions which are difficult and easy. And what does question being difficult and easy mean? That's actually about the options, right? So what I
Jijo, just to add, Jijo, sorry, just to add to what you said,
yeah.
if students go through my recording in some place in IC, I've said, यार कुछ समझ नहीं आया मुझे, because I did not understand what that paragraph was saying. But when I went to the question, I was still able to answer the questions. So all I want you to understand is there will be parts of the passage which you will not understand, but they may not be relevant to the question. So don't take a call that just because I have not understood, I'll not be able to answer the question. In fact, first passage there was that stupid word, smog sword ya kya, I don't know the meaning.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't know. But it's just ठीक है जो है देखी जाएगी. So I'll not stop just because I don't understand something, because I don't know what is there in the questions. Okay. Sorry, Jijo. Back to you.
Yeah, so no. This is the first time I'm having a fellow mentor who is discussing about VA. So I'm feeling very happy. Otherwise, so I'm in the solo. I think one of the things that, let's say you want to hit scores that is above 40, let's say scores about 35, let's say scores about 30, irrespective of the test is, you can't expect the heavy lifting to happen only in reading comprehension. It just can't. Even if you, let's say, look at all the 4 RCs and look at individual RCs, give you these marks. These are the possibilities. No, 12, 8, 4, 0, and -4. Those are the marks that is possible. Attempt everything. So maintaining an 8-mark average itself is fantastic. Now, even if you look at across the 4 RC you are attempting, on a fantastic day, you'll get 30 plus mark from RC. That is still not going to get you to 40 plus mark. So one of the things that I think this is something that I keep telling you, one of the things that the VA had to, you need at least 12-ish at least in VA. And if I look at the VA here, the paragraph jumble was definitely very painful. Okay. But the paragraph summaries actually was not. I don't know what happened in terms of attempt of the second paragraph summary question. I have no reason why that happened. These two were okay. In fact, here both the order sentences were manageable. And even the sentence, one of the sentence fitment question manageable. Other one is what genuinely painful. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were really 15 mark worth.
Actually, Jijo, I missed the 2 parajumbles. In the end, I tried doing one of the parajumbles because I said I have got just a couple of minutes left. Rather than start the passage, let me go back to the question, the 2 parajumbles which I had left for the end. Frankly, I could not do anything with it. I left it. कि अब कुछ नहीं समझ आ रहा मुझे parajumble में. So and that was question 12, not question 5. So I just gave up. छोड़ जो हो गया है. But I will agree with you. Para summaries were very straightforward. I'm just wondering why is that the first one people struggle with. Sentence placement, one of them was a little confusing, which is fine. But odd statement, both were very easy.
Correct.
So to me, I will agree with you. 5 questions, worst case 4 questions, you should have got right in this thing, in the verbal part.
So one of the things that I think this is something that I keep telling you, and I'm going to tell you again, with respect to VA, right? I think you guys have some love affairs. And you guys have some hatred to certain things. Paragraph, odd sentence, kabhi nahi hota mere se. So I will not solve it. That is death.
7 and 14.
So what you kind of have to do is that for VA, I don't know which VA score question is going to be easy, which VA question is going to be difficult. I have to make the decision solely based on the screen. If your VA rocked, I think that is the reflection of probably some of the high scores that I actually see here. The VA had to rock. I just want to quickly go through the passage once. Let me actually start with the first passage. I think this passage was not very difficult. It was talking about just this one fellow megalodon. This is what you're talking about, no? Mammal, small.
ये क्या मतलब क्या होता है?
I think I also didn't know what it means. Basically, it is saying that there are many mammals to eat.
Okay.
बहुत सारे mammals पड़ा हुआ है. So it's basically saying that size is not because they had lot many mammals to eat.
Yeah.
The impressive size is similar matter to
हाँ,
mammal,
ठीक है.
something like some shit like this.
Okay.
What is?
Whatever. And
Some
the names are so stupid. I just called it OM. That OM Megalodon or whatever. There was a couple of others. Okay.
So, for example, if I start with question number 1, the question is clearly asking about evidence of gigantism, which is evidence of size. Except this is talking about size, this is talking about size, this is talking about size, this one is talking
This
about
was
diet.
straightforward.
This
is talking about the food, the capacity or the food eating capacity or something.
So this I thought was, I don't know.
That was the reason I eliminated this choice. I said this is the answer because the other three are talking about size only.
This, for example, the question is asking about significance of it and not really explaining it. This, I think the problem was that I think the initial reading, you probably would have missed this. So it would have been okay actually skipping the question.
No, Jijo, this is the first line. Sharks reproduce in variety of ways. From laying eggs to live birth to nourished placenta like so this is variety of ways which is being given out here. If you read the first line of this paragraph completely.
Correct. So then it said that Megalodon uses a much common method. Megalodon used something else. Actually, it was easy if you actually look at it. Question number 3 is this was definitely sort of a little painful. I think the reason why this was painful was you're talking about an assumption, except, and this particular sentence is actually there. Okay, and you're looking at those. This was a genuinely tough one. This one,
Jijo, just one thing. If we go back, not in this question, one of the other question, there was a similar thing. I could not make out what the answer should be, but I said there are 3 statements which are similar. They cannot be the answer. The 4th one has to be the answer.
Okay.
This one. I think it was in 3rd passage, if I remember correctly.
Okay. ये वाला ना, this was which was the least consistent. The female megalodon produces 1 or 2 fertilized eggs. पहले fertilized eggs बाद में 1 or 2 babies.
1 or 2 क्या कहते हैं that kids are born. 1 or 2 babies at a time. So this took me a little time because I could not understand ये lamniform shocks के then I realized यार वो ठीक है जो क्या कहते हैं that they are eating their siblings is what the passage statement is talking about.
The problem with this sort of question is these are all details that you probably would have missed the first time, which is why I felt there might be a couple of questions which was worth leaving. 2 questions were manageable. To me, the count of this particular thing was 6 marks. If someone would have got 6 marks and above, I think that they would have done a fantastic job. But it's quite possible.
It may be now. I will agree that question 3 was the one which was possibly leavable.
Correct. Those 6 marks. I think it is quite possible that +3, -1, -1, -1, and 0 would have been possible, and it is okay. I mean, what is going to be really bad in this particular passage is you spend a lot of time to get this -1 marks. That is what is painful. So the passage on. Let me just quickly go through the passage on philosophy of physics. Okay. I think the key thing about this particular passage, lot of kahani hai. Basically, the author is saying that I think they start by saying my point. So this corroborates my point that philosophy of physics are often intertwined with development of physics. So philosophy and physics are intertwined is what the author is saying here. Then says after Newton, what happened? Standard narrative is that philosophy went in separate ways. The story that people say is after Newton, this during Newton. After Newton, philosophy and physics separated. Then the author says, but there is also a sense it is not entirely fair. Because philosophy reflection less obvious than Newton's time. Philosophy continued. But the author is saying that ये सब गलत है. But if you got this much of an understanding, okay. I think this was about dealing with the double negative question. I don't think so this for example, this passage, this one is clearly telling me a philosophical reflection of physics upon physics by philosophers persisted into the subsequent century, which means philosophy and physics were together. And this whatever this problem of space was given as an example of this. I think one of the problem would have been people started reading what this meant. The problem of space is an example of the fact that physics and philosophy were intertwined, and this goes absolutely against it. sorry,
and Jijo, I think this was the passage in which I said the last paragraph seems to be very confusing.
this part, yeah, it's very
This part.
painful.
It was painful. At least I lost. I think it was this one. Yeah.
But if you got the key idea, these three ideas have been fine. This was a straight question.
Jijo, to me, it was only those 2-3 key ideas which you said that initially there was a convergence, then post Newton there has been a divergence, but the author says boss ये सब कुछ नहीं है, it is still continuing, तुमको दिखता नहीं है types.
Yeah, बस इतना ही है.
इतना ही मेरे को इतना ही समझ आया passage.
इतना ही था. Which of the following act as an additional example of one mentioned in the passage?
इसमें थोड़ा सा time लगा Jijo. This was something where I struggled, but I went with choice 4, Einstein.
Because the point was the example was given after Newton. After Newton, philosophical reflection of history upon which persisted subsequent centuries. Here is one example from 19th century. So this is the only one that talks about in the 20th century. It still persists. Physicists themselves deep philosophical reflection, and others were talking about Galileo's time before Newton and stuff. This was okay. And this was, I mean, you had to go and all right. So I'm
this one I went back to the passage if I remember correctly. This last question, just to be sure.
So this was sort of a passage which was 9 marks ready. This passage on dialect, I don't know how people would have felt. It was not sort of. It is basically, again, author is making a point. Oxford Dictionary ka dialect definition is shit. The Spanish dictionary gives a better definition. But generally dictionaries are bad when it comes to dialect definition. And linguistic, usko idea to hai nahi kya kar rahe hai log.
Bilkul. There's no objective criteria basically.
No objective criteria. And I want to, for example, take one question here, which is, for example, I think that at this point, which of the following, if false, contradicts the author's argument except there is a negative, there is a negative, there is a negative. 3 negative means net is negative. So we are looking at something that contradicts. And there is one absolutely straightforward contradiction. There is one clear test agreed by everyone that settles whether something is language dialect. So author is going exactly opposite to this. I actually didn't feel that this particular passage, what was the sorry state of affair, that was also straightforward.
इसमें ना that sorry state of affair में people would have got confused between language and dialect.
Correct.
Objective criteria. Yeah, okay. I think that's.
And so sort of what the amazing thing about this passage, this paragraph is all the doodle of the passage. Okay. This when you start reading it, this gives a clear summary. You want to create moral assessment for AI systems using human moral reasoning. I will take 3 established framework. Okay. The author says that, and then author summarizes very clearly. Moral foundation theory maps the basic moral concern that guide judgment. Cross-cultural research reveals how these concerns vary across contexts, and moral dilemma studies examine how people apply moral principles when they reflect. This combination provides a comprehensive foundation. Mala pehla wala question why tha? Which of the following set of questions does the author believe help build the effective moral assessment? What core concerns shape the moral judgment people make? Concern that guide judgment. In what ways does moral thinking differ from one society to another? Cross-cultural research seeking how these concerns vary across contexts. How do people work through situations where values pull in opposite direction? And I was this I think one could I think this particular I think the problem would have been question is asking about author's argument hold true only if this was an assumption question. Some of the strongest criticism. So you got I think a few of these questions made you to think a bit. Which is the reason as to which is I believe the reason as to why this happened in terms of it was not as though it was difficult. It was even this was very close to about 40% accuracy, so it was not very difficult, but it really confused people. So anyone, if you're let's say doing 4 RCs, and if you got close to about 28 to 30, you've done a great job. If someone is doing about 3 RC, I think that depending on the RCs that you picked, you're able to get something like let's say 24ish. I think you would have done even let's say 22 to 24 would have been a good job here. The paragraphs, I mean, if I quickly go through, this was very painful. I mean, this would have been absolutely painful. This paragraph jumble question was painful in terms of where to place this one, right? One of the things that the people should have left is this one is talking about marble. This one is talking about marble. This one is talking about marble. This one is much more broader, pre-scientific mentality in general. So, but you still, I think there will many people would have started with sentence number 2 here, when in the start sentence number 4. This sentence fitment question was absolutely straightforward. I don't know. And then if I move on, so this odd sentence question, this is saying that you are basically macro trading is where how price will move
Yeah.
in response. It's about future. We can place a bet before it breaks. Okay, in first place, but early. But author says that okay, but it's still hard. Okay, that it's still hard. This one is talking that after the rest of the market, it actually goes against what is being said.
Yeah.
Somebody whose logic would have cracked this one. And is there anything? Again, this was also very painful paragraph jumble question. This was absolutely a sitter.
This was very easy.
हाँ,
एक ही में ऑरेंज था यार, बाकी सब में वो व्हाइट ग्रे ब्लैक चल रहा था.
this is actually talking about whales eyes ke upar, where I think whatever whales
That's
in
right.
the eye, there are some crust. This is
Yeah.
what you're talking, and the rest of the thing is talking about
The rest
their
of, you see,
skin.
these are the remaining 4 statements were talking about the skin color or the skin tone. This
Correct.
was the only one which was talking about orange and the whale's eyes. So easy to eliminate. This was straightforward.
This was straightforward, and this paragraph jumble, the summary question was straightforward. I think that the only pain this forced is the you kind of eventually realize that this sentence has no place to go other than this, because so it was no other place. This is talking about some how to define scientific power more broadly. It's still saying more broadly we define scientific fraud. However, if you define it narrowly, it's going to problem. Don't define it narrowly. So you just, my love, this is one of those sentence fitment questions you cannot place it. So eventually, what I felt here is, for those set of students, I think this is what I'm going to say about this particular test. If you think VARC is VARC, if you think VARC is about RC, this paper would have been horrible. If your VA didn't give you marks, I think the story would have been over. You needed the VA. So anyone who probably it's guaranteed, anyone who is able to even get marks like these and marks like these and marks like this, there was a significant contribution to VA. Imagine I'm sure there are somebody who got, let's say, marks like 20, where the VA score is 3, 17 from an RC, 3 from VA. I'm sure you are there, right? And then if this VA instead of 3 would have been 12, this would have been 29. But right here, from something like here would have been right here. So you still have time. I think not having any judgment about what type of VA will solve, whatever VA will not solve, all that you decide on the day of the test. But you got to build the process to solve all kind of VA questions. That's about VA. Is there any questions I can pick up, because I'll have to leave? My brother-in-law is here, so I have to. Any questions you want to? Any questions related to VA? Should I attempt this passage if I'm not very comfortable with physics passage? What do you mean not comfortable with physics passage? Okay, so obviously.
Yeah, I've always hated biology. I have always hated biology in school. Okay, so see, ultimately my job is to just read the passage and based on whatever I understand, go ahead with it. And don't worry, again, don't worry if you don't understand a part of the passage, a few words here, that does not matter at all. Okay, it might matter if there's a question based on that, but then I leave that question and focus on the remaining 2 or 3 questions. Okay. The other thing with Jijo you said, depending upon which passages you chose to attempt, I have a problem with that. How will you again, I know I've said this earlier, so I'm just repeating that part. There's no way you can choose the passage because you don't know what the questions are going to be like. Okay. So my funda is very simple, go sequentially. I left the 4th passage because it was the 4th. With the AI passage, I left it because it was the last passage and did not have time. If the language dialect would have been the last passage, I would have left that. So my only suggestion would be don't try to choose passage. That's a waste of time.
Well, one other thing that I will be very, very careful in using the word comfortable. Okay, most of the time when we say comfortable, that is relative. Second of all, let's assume that I'm very comfortable with Sudoku, but I'm sure there is very high level of Sudoku that you can't solve.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable crossroads. There'll be absolutely amazing cryptic crosswords, amazing cryptic crosswords that you can't solve. So just because, therefore, don't sit here and say, don't make the confession that there are certain kind of passage which I like or don't like. Who cares? I mean, the attitude should be that whatever is the passage, bring it on. I just going to read it. Broad understanding I'll get. I will not try and understand every single thing. Mota understanding I'll pick up. I'll go to the questions, deal with it. If I can't solve it, I will skip and move on. Yeah. My question's done. Any other?
Same
I
thing.
think
This was your area of interest. So your area of interest, your familiarity does not matter. It is the questions which matter.
So the only thing that you had to do at that point in time is skip and move on. I mean, just skip the question and move on. Don't have a fight because there is something known as negative attempt. Negative attempt means knowing you are confused with an option, even after evaluating everything, still deciding to spend extra 2 minutes on the question, additional 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and get -1 mark. That's a negative attempt, right? So that's what you got to avoid. There was a question asked which is saying, if true, invalidate the arguments except. No, none of the following if true. So none of the following if true, invalidate the arguments except. None, invalidate, except. 3 negatives. So count the number of negatives. If there is even number of negatives, it cancels out. Odd number of negatives, the negative stays. So if none, invalidates, except. 3 negative. So eventually the question is asking to find that invalidates. Find something that goes against a particular passage. So after shooting set 1 and set 3, initially my plan was to go to set 2. But as I want to secure marks from VA, went to VA, I scored negative from VA after spending a good amount of time. All right. Jasim?
Yeah, it's my Jijo. First of all, there's nothing called VA. There's para jumble, there's para summary, there's odd statement, there's a sentence placement. As an individual, Gautam Puri struggles with para jumble. It takes me a larger amount of time. Hence, I keep it for later. As an individual, Gautam Puri is able to, by and large, get the para summary and the odd statement right. So I will definitely want to attempt them. So it is not that I'm not going to attempt para jumbles. I will keep them for later, so that initially I will do what I am more comfortable with. Okay. So when you say I went for VA, frankly, I don't understand what you have done. Okay. So if you just to close my point, so if you look at my attempt, the moment I came to para jumble in I think it was 5th or 6th question, I said, "Baad mein dekhenge." The next one was, if I remember correctly, either para summary or sentence placement. मैंने वहीं पे कर दिया. So you need to just be conscious of your strengths and weaknesses and play along according to it. Sorry, Jijo, back to you.
The only thing I'm saying that, okay, so that's a data, negative 2. Now what you got to do is, don't blame. I think that what you're trying to do, Jasim, is you're trying to blame the fact that because you went to VA, your plan crashed. I think that is what you're implying here. Sir, I wanted to go to VA to get marks from VA, but my plan didn't happen. All right. First of all, I don't know what is spending good amount of time even mean. Did you honestly spend time on a question which you got confused? I don't know what even mean. I think that given the fact that you got negative 2 marks, which means you forced yourself an attempted question which you should not be attempting, even after you got confused. I think to get answer to all these questions, the only thing that can give answer to all these questions is you doing a proper analysis of this test. I think do the analysis, figure out what happened, and then pick up learning from there. Yeah. All right.
So, okay, let's move to DILR.
So I'll see you everyone. Okay. Huh?
Okay.
GB, I remember GB telling me, Jijo, you should not leave early. I'm telling you, this year I've never left early. Okay. The only when you are here, I have to leave early. Okay.
No, I was there in the previous Open CDC as well. You were there.
All right.
I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. So
Jimmy,
in
before,
DILR,
Jimmy, before that, I would
ये
like
विनय
to
के
take
इस
this
क्वेश्चन
question.
को एकदम एंड में उठाएंगे. I think once all three
No, no,
sections are done.
I'll just give a hint. Ki do one thing. Just take a printout with the average salaries of IMs. अपने जो कबर्ड है दरवाजे के पीछे चिपका लो. So every time you are going to open the cupboard, you are going to see the average salary you are going to get after completing your MBA. Fine. And if money can't motivate you, at least I can't. So that is the only motivation I think is needed. अगर पैसा नहीं मोटिवेट कर पा रहे तो नहीं समझ में आ रहा कि क्या
गौतम एक सवाल मैं भी ले लेता हूँ. I guess this is from a verbal perspective. Okay. Now, Vishnu, my suggestion would be, if you're good at eliminating option, then back yourself and go ahead with it. And in this paper, if you've got lots of negatives, just go back to it and ask yourself, जबरदस्ती का elimination तो नहीं कर देते. That I'll definitely eliminate something or the other, चाहे समझ आए ना आए. ठीक है? I would say continue with the process, but maybe some fine tuning is required, and just focus on that part. So Gautam, on to DILR.
Perfect. So before we go and we see attempts क्या थे, before we go there, let's first try looking at all the sets and then go and see attempt set wise क्या थे, question wise क्या थे. It might give us a little bit of an understanding as to how it all went. First set. So personally speaking, I think a doable set. Issues, 2 to 3 issues with this set. Number one, Shashank, if you can get the set back. Yeah. I think it vanished.
Just give me a
Yeah.
moment.
So yeah, the first issue with this set, if you have a look at it, the biggest problem was too much data which is not there, right? So it seems like बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. And if we just go further down and look at the questions, one Shashank, because I always like to look at the questions while reading the mother data, which helps us understand exactly चल क्या रहा है. So in questions also you will go ahead and see that there were 2 or 3 questions जहाँ पे direct था. For example, मेरे को 1st July का बताओ क्या होगा value. मेरे को 12th July की value बताओ क्या होगा. When you look at the questions, it categorically showcases to you that it is asking you about values on that particular day. So अगर questions पे जाओगे 1st July, 12th July, and then there is a lot around 17th of July. If you look at question 27 and 28, deals with 16, 17, 17th again. So when I'm looking at this set, the things coming to my mind is Gautam 1st July, 12th July, 16th and 17th July. This is all that I need. Usse I will be able to do quite a bit. Now, the important thing to understand in this set is क्या आपको ये basic concept of averages पता है होता है क्या? This was just a test of that quant question, the test of averages. Do you understand trailing 3-day average means कि sum of those 3 days divided by 3 is equal to the average. So अगर if you can just go up Shashank, so the trailing 3-day average अगर कहीं पे mentioned है, for example यहाँ पे July July 12th को if they have said 410, it means 10th plus 11th plus 12th will be 410 into 3.
Shashank, just go down a little. एक मिनट, ऊपर डेफिनेशन दी थी मेरे ख्याल से. नहीं ऊपर, सॉरी जस्ट स्क्रॉल अप.
दी थी एग्जांपल भी दिया.
हाँ ठीक है.
A trailing 3-day average on July 10th.
For example, a trailing 3-day average is very clearly given. अगर नहीं भी मालूम है तो दिया हुआ है इसके अंदर. Correct.
So that is one. Second, when you're looking at this particular set, like I stated, 4 values that I am after. I am after July 1st, I am after July 12th, I am after July 16th and 17th. That's all that I want. ये हो गया तो मेरे को पता है 4 क्वेश्चन तो पॉकेट में है. When you look at the data, you see कि मेरे को 10th July के बारे बहुत कुछ given है. मेरे को 10th July में 10-day average is given, 6-day average is given. The important catch here is going to be that 10-day average minus 6-day average is always going to give me the sum total of the first 4 days. If you can do sum of the 10 days minus sum of the 6 days, you are still left with the first 4 days. And that funda is the only funda that you were utilizing in this entire set. Calculation intensive tha thoda. Look at the first question, for example. Shashank, if we go up. If you look at the first question, the 10-day average is thoda aur upar. Yeah, the 10-day average is given as 324 on July 10th. 6-day average is 315. सबसे पहली बात, 6-day average का मतलब क्या होगा? किस डेट से किस डेट? I hope you all did not go ahead and do 4th to 10th like GP stat example में already mentioned है. 6-day average का मतलब होगा 10 minus 6 plus 1 because 10 is included. It is 5th to 10th. In the example, if you say 3-day average on 10th is 8, 9, 10. 10 minus 3 plus 1. 8 से शुरू होता है. Example में mentioned है. Similarly, यहाँ पे 6-day average will be 5th to 10th. So, मेरे को 1st to 4th का sum मिल जाएगा. 1st to 4th का sum मिल जाएगा. If I subtract these two, first 10 days का मेरे पास है 3240. 5th to 10th का मेरे पास है 315 into 6. इन दोनों को subtract करूंगा. First 4 days I have. Now, if you look at the very first statement given in the additional data, 3-day average of 4th July is 340. मतलब 2nd plus 3rd plus 4th is 340 into 3. अब इन दोनों को subtract करोगे, आपका 1st July आ जाएगा. So, when I was looking at this set, when I looked at it upfront, right, the only thing that attracted me towards this was the first question seems very, very simple. And if you look at the 29th question, even that categorically states find out just the value on 12th of July. मेरे को ये दोनों जब मैंने देखे ना, मेरे को लगा ये दोनों तो बहुत जल्दी निकल आएंगे, इनमें ज्यादा मेहनत होनी नहीं चाहिए. And I was like, this will not be a set where I will look at, for example, question 26. In the period 11 to 20th July, median of the mangoes. यार मेरे को 11 to 20th के सारे values निकालने पड़ेंगे, तभी तो median आएगा. Median is the middlemost. 10 चीजें, I will need value of 5th and 6th. I will not want to do this. It's a separate thing. Options can help, but I will not want to do this to begin with. It is not going to be a question that is going to attract me. So when I'm looking at this set, it should cross your mind or it should be very, very clear. मेरे को बहुत ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लगाना. मेरे को 2 या 3 easy questions दिख रहे हैं, 25 and 29. I'll be able to do 29 के चक्कर में 28 भी निकल आता. Because 29 के चक्कर में you would have realized 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th सबकी value आ रही है. And that is where you would have gone ahead and done a little bit more. So I think in this particular set, and if you go ahead and, if we toggle between attempts and this, which we will do later, I will not toggle at this point in time, you will realize that the attempt here and the accuracy in this set was low. Jabki the first question and the last question was something which should not have taken time and should have been doable. Shashank, you want to add anything to this one?
हाँ मैं आपको बुला देता हूँ.
Actually, when I was attempting this set, the first question I got this one, then second question I got this one, 28. I was trying to find out the answer for 29th only, but I got 27th first. After that, I figured out there are.
हाँ मैंने वही बोला कि 29th ढूंढने जाओगे 28th हो जाएगा.
हाँ वो पहले हो गया. After that, I thought there is some issues.
So
I left
25 and to 29 will attract you towards it. Because of that attraction, 28 will be solved.
Yes.
So 25 and 29 attract and one additional question. So even if when you see my video solution, मैंने जब देखा था मैंने लिखा भी था यहाँ से 2 to 3 questions निकलेंगे इस set से. Let's move to the second set. Second set, how many of y'all trade? How many of y'all know a little bit about option trading? I would love to hear that in the chat box. Call option, put option, कितनों ने वो नाम सुना है? फिर मैं बोलूंगा वो अच्छी बात है कि बुरी बात वो बाद में आती, बट कितनों ने सुना है? How many of you all were aware that there is something called I do but I left this set? Okay, one is saying that. What about the others? It will be interesting.
इससे ये भी पता चलता है इसके ट्रेडिंग स्किल्स कितने अच्छे हैं.
Exactly. Sanchit has not heard. Vidushi, no idea. So
यहाँ पैसे तो नहीं जाने वाले थे, मार्क्स आने वाले थे इसमें.
So two parts to it, guys. ठीक है, it's okay if you don't know about it right now. ठीक है, but अगर पता है तो अगर पता है तो there was a pro as well as a con. The pro was it would seem like a set which is doable because call and put option है X and Y. The con was contract fee का calculation जो है वो बहुत अलग है. And if you go with preconceived notion of contract fee कैसे calculate होता है, without reading कैसे calculate होगा, वहां problem आ जाती. And trust me, when I was discussing this set with Shashank yesterday, I fell into that trap because I assumed I know call and put. I did not read the contract fee and I called up Shashank. Shashank ये बताएगा ये क्यों किया है? मैंने कहा सर आपने पूरा set पढ़ा, तो मैंने देखा oh shit. I also fell into the trap of having assumed. So I am talking about this from experience. Please don't fall in that trap. if you know call and put, if you basically call option hota kya hai? It basically gives you a right to buy that particular option at a particular target price, pre-decided. Put option hota hai, it gives you the right to sell an option at a pre-decided target price. Wahi yahan tha. Call option was X, put option was Y. The problem in this set was contract fee calculation. और वो contract fee calculation में फिर से same funda as the first set. In the first set, if you remember, 3-day moving average means if I'm calculating on 10th, it is 8th, 9th, and 10th. Similarly, in contract fee, if it is telling you something on August 4th, it does not mean 4 days have gone, it means 3 days have gone. Remaining is 12 minus 4 plus 1, which means 9 days. So that same funda, the same concept of number of days that you have to calculate came here as well. If I look at this particular set, Shashank, if we go down, the one problem with this set was it was very long to read. You know, the content was too much. बहुत कुछ हो रहा है, तो उसके वजह से लगा होगा यार ये करना है नहीं करना क्या हो रहा है. But if you look at it very objectively, wheat में वो बोल रहा है उसने option 2 purchase लिया है, buy, yellow color है, and wheat का आप pricing देखो, 2700 market price है, 2400 target price है. Obviously मैं खरीदूंगा ना. 2700 में मार्केट में बिक रहा है, आप मेरे को बोल रहे हो 2400 में खरीद सकता हूं. Obviously I will exercise. Cotton, look at sugar for example. Sugar में you are telling me that once again sugar was also purchased, right? Sugar was also buy. मार्केट प्राइस 3000 चल रहा है, टारगेट प्राइस 32. मतलब आप बोल रहे हो मैं 3200 पे खरीदूंगा जब मार्केट में 3000 पे बिक रहा है. क्या मैं खरीदूंगा? नहीं खरीदूंगा. That is basically what was there in this question. Now, if you look at this particular, if you look at the questions, what are happening? What is the profit made by C? All you needed to do, if you go up, C, दो transaction में involved है. B selling to C, C selling to B, right? B selling to C, which is cotton, so which is sugar. C selling to B, which is cotton. Only sugar and cotton. खाली इसमें involved है, nothing else. So 2 transactions. You did not need to do the entire thing. Net profit. I will come back to this question. बट ये देख के मेरे को लग रहा है सब कुछ करना पड़ेगा यार, सारी चीजें निकालनी पड़ेगी, सारे वैल्यूज. इट सीम्स काम कराएगा. नेक्स्ट वाला, F was inserted as a surprise into the competition on August 7th. Buyer of M lots of wheat, seller of N lots of cotton. अब ये वाला क्वेश्चन एंड फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखो. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन में भी 2 ट्रांजैक्शन हो रहे थे. इट वाज wheat and sugar. Here also there are 2 transactions. It is wheat and cotton. There is no difference between question 30 and 32. The concept is exactly the same. They've just added a new word called lot. पहले वहां पे यूनिट गिवन था कि 300 यूनिट है, यहाँ पे m lot बोल दिया और बोल दिया each lot में 300 है तो m into 300. The concept behind 30 and 32 में there is no difference. But the best question of this one was the next one. If you go to question 33, Shashank, if we just go down, this was a beauty. This question was an absolute sitter. ये set नहीं करो, पर ये question guaranteed करना था. क्या बोल रहा है? If A got into his type X contract on August 7th instead of 4th, how much profit would his increase by? अब profit 2 वे से मैं कमाऊंगा क्या? अगर type X contract है तो मैं खरीद रहा हूँ, right? I'm buying. मैं कमाऊंगा क्या? Market price जो है versus the price at which I'm purchasing, इन दोनों का difference, ये मैं कमाऊंगा. उसके अलावा मैं दूंगा क्या? The contract fee. I'm going to pay the contract fee. ये difference between market price and the current target price is not changing, whether it is August 4 or August 7th. It doesn't matter. The only thing that is changing is contract fee. So here the question was, what is the difference in the contract fee from August 4th to August 7th? That was the answer. Nothing else. So in this particular set, if I was there, the last question is something that I would surely want to answer. And if I understood the set a little, I would answer the first and third question as well. But अगर कुछ भी नहीं समझ आ रहा, basics बस मैंने पढ़ लिए और थोड़ा हो गया, question 33 could have surely been attempted because इसमें ज़्यादा कुछ करना नहीं था. But I will once again state, many of you all would have seen the length of the passage, would have been like, यार ये तो बहुत कुछ बोल रहा है, बहुत कुछ हो रहा है, करे ना करे. Next one. Now this was my personal favorite of this paper. अर्जुन, इससे पहले वाला, right? शशांक, अर्जुन वाला. एक आप एक्स्ट्रा नीचे आ गए हो. Yeah, this one. This was my personal favorite of this because यहाँ पे LR काफी लगा. I am an LR guy. I don't like too much of calculation in DI. The first two sets, it was more of calculation. Here, the calculation was slightly limited. It was more of logic. Basically, हो क्या रहा है? You have five different departments. Finance है, marketing है, HR है, IT है, ops है, 5 department है. And 5 लोग हैं जिनको आपने ambassador बनाया है. ये बोल दिया है फाइनेंस से कोई ambassador नहीं है, ops से एक ambassador है. किसी भी डिपार्टमेंट में 2 से ज्यादा नहीं हो सकती. You can't have more than 2 ambassadors in any department. So the only option in my mind is that one is in ops. The remaining 4 ambassadors can be 220 or they can be 112. That's the first thing. The moment you read it, you understand. Now the interesting thing, if I am an ambassador, okay, right, I will vote for a different ambassador only if he or she is not the part of the same team, because they've categorically mentioned that everybody in the same team will never vote for somebody, in the same team. If you look at it, I think that is mentioned in point 2. No employee presents either gift, premium or standard to a festival ambassador belonging to his or her department. That means even if you are an ambassador from this department, you will never vote for another ambassador in this department. अब अगर लिखना शुरू करें, शशांक, if you just write for a second, ठीक है, जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ, you can't, okay, no problem. So just look at where we are. अर्जुन को देखो, अर्जुन gives to नैना and मीरा, मतलब अर्जुन नैना and मीरा के साथ, don't go down, let's just clear. अर्जुन नैना and मीना के साथ नहीं हो सकता. Similarly, नीचे आओ, देखो अर्जुन फिर से रोहन के साथ लिखा हुआ है, रोहन gives something to, don't go down, just stay where you are, just stay in the table, that's it, okay. Arjun gives to Naina and Meera. So Arjun, Naina and Meera are different departments, right? Arjun is not in the same department, Naina, Meera. Look at Rohan. Rohan gives to Arjun. So Arjun cannot be with Rohan. Look at Vikram. Vikram gives to Arjun. Vikram cannot be with Arjun. मतलब Arjun चारों में किसी के साथ भी नहीं है. Arjun is stand alone. Clear? The Arjun is going to stand alone. Let's look at Meera. Meera gives to Rohan and Vikram. So Rohan and Vikram नहीं है. Naina gives to Meera. So Meera cannot be with Naina. And look at Meera. Meera is again with Arjun. Arjun gives to Meera. So Meera cannot be with Rohan, Vikram, Naina or Arjun. So Meera is again standalone. Now look at the options. Look at the options of question 36. Arjun is standalone and Meera is standalone. One option is Arjun and Rohan together. Not possible because Arjun is standalone. One is Arjun and Vikram together. Not possible. One is Meera and Rohan together. Not possible, standalone. The only possibility is Naina and Vikram have to be together. This question could have been answered by just looking at these first 2 lines. That's it. You did not need to do anything else. It was simple and straightforward. एक और question अब देखो. Look at the very first question, question 34. Arjun 40,000 gift, thousands move कर दो. I will come to 35.
हाँ, ये वाला part के 2 option eliminate हो गए.
मैं उसी पे आने वाला था बाद में, but yeah. So very clearly Naina and Vikram, you know, cannot be in question 35. And Arjun and Meera में से एक होगा. 35 and 37 पे भी हम आएंगे, but before that let's look at 34. Look at Arjun. Arjun gets 40,000 gift value, Meera gets 32,000, Naina 92, Rohan 16, Vikram 28. 1,000 हटा दो, add all of this. If you add this, you're getting 72, 164, 180, 208. मतलब total gift value is 208,000. अर्जुन जब किसी 2 ambassador को गिफ्ट करता है, नैना एंड मीरा, he will give 3 plus 1 which is 4,000. Similarly, Meera will give 3 plus 1 which is 4,000. Naina will give 3 plus 1 4,000. मतलब each of them is giving 4,000 to fellow ambassadors. 5 of them, so 20,000 given to ambassadors. So out of this 208,000, 20,000 has been given by ambassadors to ambassadors. That means you're left with 188,000. That has to be what ambassadors get from non-ambassadors. So these 2.5 questions, question 36, question 34, elimination of 2 options of question 35 could have been done maybe in about 2 to 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Now look at 35 and 37. 35 states which of the following ambassador belongs to ops. Let's assume Arjun belongs to ops. Look at 37 ka first statement. The non-ambassador employee from ops presented the premium gift voucher to Arjun. If Arjun belongs to ops, can employees from ops give to Arjun? No. So if you assume that the answer to 35 is 1, you know 37 statement 1 is incorrect and vice versa. You could have used that as a means to kickstart. नहीं भी करते, then you can go ahead and solve the set normally. But at least these two questions you could have easily solved and you could have gone ahead. मैं तो 35 and 37 में पंट भी ले लेता कि अर्जुन को बोल दो भैया तुम ऑप्स डिपार्टमेंट में हो, तो 37 उसका रिवर्स हो जाएगा, दोनों में से एक की चांस है कि राइट हो जाएगा, राइट? Let's go down to the next set, Shashank. So this was another set with about 2.5 questions could have been done. This to me was the easiest set of the lot. This is what GP was talking about as well. इस सेट में कुछ नहीं था, एंट्री एंड एग्जिट है, आपको सिटी ए से सिटी बी सी या डी जाना है, सिटी बी से सिटी ए सी या डी जाना है. सो इट वाज बेसिकली अ सिंपल टेबल, एबीसीडी एबीसीडी, ए विल गो टू बीसीडी, बी विल गो टू एसीडी, सी विल गो टू एबीडी, डी विल गो टू एबीसी. एज सिंपल एज दैट. That is all you needed to do. And there was only one question, which is question 40, which would have made you work a little bit. But other than that, all were absolute straightforward. कुछ करना ही नहीं था. Right? In fact, question 42, अगर आप देखो, let's look at question 42. It states the direct route between B and C was closed due to flooding. Assuming that the toll rates are the only deciding factor for people to go from B to C via another city, what is the additional toll cost that a passenger will need to bear from B to C? अब याद रखो, पहले मैं B to C जा रहा था, क्या हो रहा था? I was exiting B and entering C. Now I go to B to C, I will exit B, I will enter some other city, I will exit that city, I will enter C. So this exit B and enter C is common. The only new part is enter a city, leave a city. तो sum of entry plus exit जिसका सबसे कम है वही लूंगा. Look at D. Sum of entry plus exit is 80 plus 50, which is 130. Calm down. As simple as that. Right? So this set was a set that I think you all should surely have picked up. उसके अंदर maybe question 40 you could have stated कि थोड़ा time लगेगा, but the other were absolute sitters, कोई time नहीं लगना चाहिए था. Let's move to the last one. This is an interesting set. If you have a look at this last set, it basically talks about a debate competition, junior and senior के बीच में. If I just go down a little, Shashank, junior and senior के बीच में, इसमें एक simple सी चीज हो रही है. You need to understand what this table is pointing. को ले लेना चाहिए. Right? You just need to go ahead and point out what this table is going ahead and pointing out. Now, what is this table stating? This table is basically stating at any point in time you will get a triplet. A competing with BCD, which is a triplet. BCD अगर यहाँ अगर मैं देखूं, B and C मेरे पास है 8, 8, D मुझे पता नहीं, 8, 9, D मुझे पता नहीं. So if I'm looking at this table, 8, 9, I don't know is equal to 3. Now this I don't know itself could be 8 or 9. That means 8, 9, 8 plus 8, 9, 9 is equal to 3. Now it's an equation. 8, 9, 8 you can call A. 8, 9, 9 you can call B. So A plus B is equal to 3. Similarly, 9, 9, 8 plus 9, 9, 9 is 4. That's all that was there in this set. And then utilizing this funda that X, Y, Z is equal to X, Z, Y. That's all that you needed to do. So this was basically a set of just equations and nothing else. That's all that you needed to do in this set. So agar ye samajh aata tha, once again, this set, there was not, it wouldn't have taken too much time. You could have surely gone ahead and solved about 2 to 3 questions, if not more. But as you would have seen in this entire paper, and now if we can go to the PPT, Shashank, as you could have seen in this entire paper, no set other than the entry exit, उसमें भी मैं एक question छोड़ रहा हूँ, was a set where I was stating ये set पूरा उठाना चाहिए था. हर set में there are those 2 or 3 questions that you needed to do. And this is what we've been harping about. We spoke about this in RT99, GP, Jijo, Shivku, Shashank, me. We've been talking about this across all CDC pros. This was a quintessential example, I think, if I can ever pick up one, jahan pe ye hua. And just look at the attempts. Just look at, there are only 2 questions which can so-called be called easy as per the attempts. It is set 3 ka question number 3, set 4 ka question number 3. Set 3 कौन सा वाला था Shashank? वो अर्जुन और वो वाला ना?
हाँ.
Set 3 वो अर्जुन और वो वाला था.
हाँ. और set 4
अर्जुन वाला.
अर्जुन वाला. उसका question number 3. उसका question number 3 कौन सा था? You have the paper with you, right? उसका question number 3 कौन सा था?
pairs वाला.
Pairs वाला. So good. So I'm happy to see that वो elimination से at least लोगों ने कर लिया होगा या वो लोग को easy लगा. Similarly, set 4 का question number 3 कौन सा है? The next set.
The number of passengers exiting B is the same as the number of passengers entering B. What is the total?
6,000 वाला. The number of passengers being same, उसके basis में going ahead and solving. But look at 42. 42 was also a sitter. I don't know why enough did not attempt. So this to me is a clear-cut example of a paper where you should not have chosen sets. Yes, you will surely prioritize sets कि कौन सा वाला पहले उठाऊं जिनमें मैं questions थोड़े solve करूंगा. But question solving was the key. Identifying which questions to pick up, को उठा के किसको solve करना है, that was going to be the key. And I think that is where a lot of problem might have occurred. I would like to see, few questions. यहाँ पे. Question 34 was also direct. Total 208. Subtract the amount. I think ये मैंने बोल दिया, if I'm not wrong. 208 में से 20 निकलेगा. I think I stated that. I started with this set number 3 and was able to do 4 questions. I got them all right, but I was then left with no time to go for other sets. So set number 3 say you started was a good call, but you did 4 questions and you had no time left. So that means 40 minutes for 4 questions. If I assume 5-7 minutes initially looking at all sets, you took roughly around 34-35 minutes to do 4 questions. Maybe go back to the drawing board and see वहां पे क्या fight है, because इतना time तो नहीं लगना चाहिए था. Couple of questions like we pointed out straightforward निकल रहे थे, especially वो pair वाला and stuff like that, right? We just solved the pair वाला and the first question directly. The two of them should not have taken more than 4-5 minutes. So if you spent about 30-35 minutes in this one, कोई तो fight है. You should not have ideally spent so much time, right? Set 1 10 minutes for 3 questions, but wasted next 25 minutes for 2 questions. Exactly, Chirag. That's exactly what we were talking about, right? That's exactly what I stated. 3 questions, set 1 10 minutes, brilliantly done. Why so desperate to do the remaining 2 questions? Why? And this is what Shivku and me were talking about yesterday when I told him set 1 according to me easy है, पर तभी अगर बच्चा समझ जाए 2 से 3 क्वेश्चन करने हैं, सब नहीं करने. Had you solved those 3 questions in 10 minutes, that's 3 minutes per question. You had aced it. Why spend those additional 25 minutes? And that is the learning. If there is a learning that you need from this mock from DILR, that is the learning. I was able to do 2 questions from 2 sets. How can I improve? And Arjun said I tried a lot, but was very confused in it. I hope now you have a little clarity, Vidushi, how you could have used the options in the Arjun set. And this is something we spoke about in RT99 as well. Additional information options maybe hai, usko bhi to use karo. Okay. Should I read options first or should I read the set and then go for that set? I read the setup, which is the mother data and the table. I don't read the additional information. So I read the setup and which is the mother data and the table. Then I move to the questions and the options. इसके basis में I decide ये मेरे करूँगा नहीं करूँगा. What will I do? Which questions do I want to do? Then I look at additional data, because the setup, questions and options are enough to go ahead and understand what to do. Okay? I solved question 25, 26, 27, which is once again going to be the first set in 20 minutes and spent 10 minutes understanding all the sets. After that, I could not solve any one. So, Vishrut, once again, I will get to why set 1 was the priority for you. There has to be a reason in that. Just because वो set 1 था इसलिए मैंने उठा लिया, I hope वो answer नहीं है. I hope you went through all the sets and for some reason decided set 1 will be a priority. For example, this Arjun set could have been done. Entry exit set could have been done. These 2 sets according to me were slightly easier than the first one to pick up. Right? Couple of questions वहाँ पे आराम से हो सकते थे. So why this set is question 1. अब 20 minutes अगर लगा भी लिया and still you had 20 minutes, why could you not solve the entry exit set would be the question going on in my mind. That's how I would go about it. How should I initially skim and rank these sets and what's the ideal time to spend on selection process? Jasim, if you go ahead and you look at my video solutions, I have also given an overview where I've spent about 8-10 minutes going through all the sets right up front along with the questions and stated my priority order, which questions I would pick up and why. So maybe that will help you. It is there in the solutions. So go ahead and have a look at it. Okay? Perfect. Okay, maybe we could move to quant. I had a NC class. I delayed it to 9:45. I'll probably move there. Over to you all. I'll give exam in 27. Okay, Vishnu, for 27, I think you're on the right track, having started early. But yeah, do keep certain things in mind that we've gone ahead and discussed today. Over to you all for quant.
Okay, so this is the scenario of quant section, and if I am going to look at the data, it is 99.5. Okay, so basically this paper is comparatively tougher as compared to 2020, and okay, and after that, let's there are less number of green bars as compared to previous time. This time we have only 7 green bars. पिछले mock तक तो एकदम हरियाली ही दिखती थी, so every second question was green, but this time only 7. I don't understand what happened in this mock, that how did people do it. So let's look at the questions. Shiku sir, would you like to add something?
Yeah, so while there were 7 green bars, I also find that there are only about 3 or 4 questions where people have attempted, more than 50% have attempted. So to me, when I look at the paper, when we created the paper, like I thought this is going to be tough, and so we moderated it a little bit, right? We knocked off a couple of tough questions and replaced them with easier ones. So in this case, I mean, in my view, my anticipation, this has turned out to be 1 or 2 questions easier in terms of scores compared to what we had assumed would happen when we designed it. Whereas LRDI has become tougher than what we wanted it to be, right? Couple of questions tougher. Okay. GP, you found it tough, or you found it easy, right? Okay, maybe I think GP will join. So if I look at the questions that, I mean, if I were to kind of flip through the question and say which are the ones that I would do first, right? Question number 47, skip initially, right? Come back to it later. Though once you read it and you kind of understand what it is saying, it is not such a very difficult question. But the fact that you will have to read it twice or maybe thrice for some people might make it a little tough. Question number 48, if you are somebody who is comfortable with the idea of working with functions, I think this is something that's a fairly good question. If you are somebody who's scared of logs, on top of it, inside the log, there is a greatest integer function. So there is a tendency probably to skip this question and move ahead. 49th question, however, is something that I think you could have just placed the choices, options, and you could have got. So 200 was a very beautiful option to start off from. Had 200 not been the correct answer, I mean, you might have had a little difficulty in figuring out which is the answer, but 200 works out very beautifully in this question. And hence, so one of the things that that could happen is, if you are looking for A as a natural number, you will see that every choice here will give you a natural number, right? I did that mistake initially, saying, but then realized that, oh, we are talking about 2A%, which is the number of Toyota cars, has to also be an integer, right? So, so this question is best done using choice. Question 50 is a little conceptual. The moment you kind of understand how factors get multiplied to give you the number itself, right? So, I mean, let's say any number like it has got 4 factors, right? The first factor is going to be 1. The last factor is going to be, the largest factor is going to be the number itself. And then the second factor and the third factor will multiply and give you the number, right? This is true with any set of factors. If there are 10 factors, the first will be the 1, the last will be the number itself. However, if you take the second and the second last and you multiply them, you will get the number itself. If you realize that, then you will say, oh, I am just looking for numbers that have got 4 factors. The moment that gets into your head, you'll find that question number 50 will be doable. Otherwise, you might worry about the conceptual.
Otherwise, it is not at all doable. Otherwise, it's
The
not.
idea will not strike you. Question 51 is a absolute, I would say, sitter. Dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. This is all you need to write. And we are looking for
A
a
minus B.
minus b. So if I put x is equal to -1 in the polynomial, I will get the value of b minus a. Right? You just need to invert it to get the answer. So 51 is a easy question, not a complex question. 52 might need a little bit of working out, which means if somebody is not very comfortable getting to the second level of thinking, right? I think you might find it a little difficult, but otherwise, if you just write, if you understand um, what is a weighted average, what exactly is a weighted average concept, right? If I take the concentrations of S1, S2, S3, right? Those solutions there as AR and AR squared, and apply the weighted average principle to this. In one case, I'm getting 51%. In other case, I'm getting 27%. And just you divide one by the other, you will get the answer. Some of these questions have become difficult, 52 especially. Probably when had we given choices, maybe it would have been a little easier.
No, actually, sir, when I was solving this question, I realized in both the cases, your final percentage is a multiple of 3. And the second point is, it is in GP, and one time the percentage is 51. So my highest percent should be greater than 51 and lowest percentage should be less than 27. So I have made a GP 9, 27 and 81, and I checked with that. So I got my
okay.
answer.
So divisibility of 3 is one that you took into place. One of them has to be more than 51, other is less than 27. Yeah, good, beautiful. Because the beach wala jo 2 wala hai, that is not creating the difference. The difference is only created by the first and second. Okay. 53 again, standard escalator question. If you have not done it, if you have done most escalator questions, I think this is something that you shouldn't have had a problem. There's one catch, however, when you might have wondered in which direction is the escalator moving. So there was that conceptual conclusion that you will have to arrive at. So you go back and look at all the standard escalator questions. I think then this question you will find is one of the standards. I mean, if I go back and look at the escalator questions that have come in past CAT papers and looked at this, that I don't think there is any big difference between the two, right? Only one small catch here is I think you'll have to figure out in which direction is the escalator moving. 54 is again a standard set theory question, right? You have the number of people lying between 500 and 600, and then in one case we are saying that the number of people, for example, yoga will be n by 4, right? And then we have fitness is n by 5, 2n by 5. However, you also say that 2/3 of it, right? So you will end up getting the number of people who only take part in fitness will be something that ends in, which has a denominator of 15. So what does it mean? You have got 4n by 15, right? Must be a whole number. So the moment that strikes you that n must be divisible by both 14 and 15, then the question becomes fairly simple, where you just have to plug in n is a number that is divisible by 60 and it lies between 500 and 600. So that gives you the answer, and then thereafter the question becomes simple. So the catch is
sorry, कौन सा वाला क्वेश्चन था ये?
ये community
54 ना? हाँ
योगा
हाँ इसमें दो चीजें दिखती हैं. पहले एक तो नंबर हैज टू बी अ मल्टीपल ऑफ 20, so it can only be because 2 by 5 or 1 by 4 है. So the number needs to be multiple of 20, so it can be 520, 540, 560, 580. But दूसरे वाले में जब जाते हो that number of members who are not enrolled in yoga, not enrolled in yoga is twice the number who are enrolled in both the programs. That means your number 3 का भी multiple होना चाहिए. Number has to be 540.
करेक्ट. तो वो 20 के जगह पे मैंने आपको बोला कि 60 का मल्टीपल होना चाहिए.
हाँ, ठीक है.
So ये
20 into 360 कर दिया ना, ठीक है, एकदम एक ही है. हाँ.
क्वेश्चन नंबर 55 जो है वो भी मेरे ख्याल से आई थिंक दिस वन ऑफ द स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन जहाँ पे लोग स्टूडेंट्स ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ पेन्स, इरेजर एंड शार्पनर. यहाँ पे उसकी जरूरत नहीं पड़नी चाहिए क्योंकि we are looking at 50 pens. In one case, the total cost of pens will be a multiple of 10. The second equation also must give you a multiple of 10. So the first thing that I tried is checking whether 10 into 2 and 4 into 5, does it work? Thankfully, it worked. In some cases, I may have to do 4 into 14, other 4 into 15, minus 10 karna chahiye. I would have had to do that. So the fact that 50 is a clear giveaway in this question. I mean, jisko chamak gaya ki wo 50 giveaway hai, I think this was a question that could have been done. So 55 is not, if you have seen questions like this is a standard question. 56 repeat, वो P, 2P and 4P कैसे किया था?
शिवको इसमें देख 99 बहुत अच्छा नंबर है. 99 का मतलब है कि द मल्टीपल ऑफ 11, दैट मीन 1.1 तो आएगा. दैट मीन 10% ज्यादा होना चाहिए. दैट मीन चॉइस 3 और 4 निकल जाते हैं. व्हेन यू लुक एट 5, 10 एंड 20, 5, 10 एंड 20 में वो 20%. अच्छा, दूसरी चीज 99 by 120, 100 by 125 is 80%. That means there has to be a discount of more than 20%. So that means ये 5, 10, 20 तो हो ही नहीं सकता. 10, 20, 40 होगा. वो कैलकुलेट किया, बट बेसिक लॉजिक यही लगाया मैंने.
So the other thing is कि ये जो 99 by 125 है ना, it is about 20% discount. ये 20% डिस्काउंट है. तो आपका जो 40% and other thing is 99 is divisible by 11. तो एक तो obviously 10% ही होगा, right? And then we can always check कि 4P जो है that has to be a 40% discount. I checked it and figured out and I could get the answer. Okay.
Recommend क्या करोगे आप?
Question number 57 जो है, which is the base of a regular pyramid. If people don't know what is the height of a pyramid, right? GP एक बार म्यूट कर लेना. If people don't find if you remember the height of a regular pyramid,
sir, लेकिन
I think
can I solve question number 56?
Please do it.
56, I am going from 125 to 99. It means I am decreasing by close to 20%. As well as my denominator should be a multiple of 5. So basically, if I am putting 10, 10 is 1 by 10, 2 by 10, and 4 by 10.
Correct.
In 12.5, it won't be true. In 15, again, it won't be true. So basically, the only possible option I can get is option 2, nothing else.
Correct. So if I also realize that 99 by 125 can also be written as 99 into 8 by 1000. So that's what Shashank is saying. I must get a divided by 10 by 10 by 10, right? Which is the fraction that is left. So in that case, you see that you will end up getting, and the numerator is divisible by 11, it is divisible by 12, right? And is also divisible by 6. You'll find that the only possibility will be you will get 10%. 57 जो है, if you don't know the height of a regular pyramid, ये शायद नहीं कर पाओगे. But अगर जानते हो, I think you will see that this question is like similar to, you will get, the answer you will get is root of 108. That is the height of the pyramid. Then the whole idea is, how do I write this as A root B? There are various forms of writing it as A root B. So some of you might have marked, some of you have actually marked 109, but you miss the fact that A and B have to be greater than 1. राइट? वो गलती आई थिंक वो गलती शायद कुछ लोग ने कर लिया हो. 58 स्टैंडर्ड ये मेरे ख्याल से आई थिंक अभी तक जिन्होंने भी सीक्वेंसेस सीरीज कर लिया है, this is something that you shouldn't have left. It's a standard question, and I think this is a doable. So there are actually lots of doable questions in this. 59 जो है,
That is again, I would say that is an easy question.
so 59 वाला GP तुमको what is the way you tried this out?
यार p square plus t square 34 है, तो मैंने 1 square 2 square लिखा, 4 square 3 square plus 5 square दिख गया. 9 plus 24 34 है, तो उसके बाद सॉल्व हो गया. Now p plus q is less than 0. That means minus 5 will be q and p will be 3.
Correct.
बस उसके बाद तो फिर कुछ बचा ही नहीं था इसमें. ये और अगला सवाल बहुत अच्छे हैं. Even next one is very straightforward.
So as long as you can, I mean, you can see कि modulus of 5 में p squared plus q squared, if it strikes you that 5 squared plus 3 squared or 5 squared plus minus 3 squared, right? If that is equal to 34, then you will know that put p is equal to 5, q is equal to minus 3, and you will get the answer. And from which you will get the value of b and also get the value of c. 60th कैसे किया जीपी?
शशांक एक काम करो, b और d को ज्वाइन कर दो जरा. Join B and D.
सर इसमें सर मेरे पास ऑप्शन नहीं है.
नहीं तुम B और D को कोई बात नहीं. पेंसिल नहीं, पेन का ऑप्शन नहीं है क्या? ड्रॉ का
ऊपर है, ऊपर हाँ.
नहीं
चलो कोई बात नहीं. If you draw BD, you realize your answer has to be greater. The shaded area has to be greater than 50%. देखो, if you just join BD, it is almost 50%, but वो छोटा triangle AB and E वाला triangle बच जाएगा. So answer has to be greater than 50%. 12 8 is 96, 96 कहा 48, 54 ही हो सकता है आंसर.
Okay.
मैंने इसके लिए पहले चेक कर लिया था कि शीट स्क्रीन पे रख के कि एक ही ट्रायंगल, ये रेक्टेंगल ठीक बना हुआ है. ए बी 60% और 2/3 ऑफ BC दिख जाता है, तो उसके बाद तो खाली मेजरमेंट का खेल बचता है. अदरवाइज दो बार पाइथागोरस थ्योरम लगाना होगा, उसका फायदा नहीं दिखा मुझे.
पाइथागोरस थ्योरम जल्दी मेरा तो वही लगा कि as soon as I saw it, I said कि बस A and F को ज्वाइन कर लो, आंसर तो आ ही जाएगा. Because AF का वैल्यू
चिपको मैंने भी वही बोला, जैसे ही देखा मैंने कहा BD को पहले ज्वाइन कर लो.
But AF ज्वाइन करने से एक अच्छा सा whatever it is, you will get the value of AF root of 145.
Yeah.
Right? And you will get the value of EF as 9, perfect 9. 145 minus 64 जो है, you'll get 81.
Yeah.
So that makes the question very simple.
Yeah. बिल्कुल.
61. 61. I don't know how many people have done it, but I think it's a nice question.
It's a very very interesting question. पहली बार ऐसा सवाल देखा है, बहुत अच्छा है. लेकिन
ये अच्छा है.
अगर फंडा क्लियर है रेस का तुम्हारे, तो बहुत आसान सवाल है ये. It's a very easy question.
62 बहुत लंबा है. 62 I think
62 मैंने ना गलती कर दी, अटेम्प्ट नहीं करना चाहिए था. बिकॉज मेरे को लग रहा है एंड में हाई रहा हूँ, राउंड 2 चालू कर ही देता हूँ. अदरवाइज 62 वुड बी टिपिकली राउंड 2 क्वेश्चन फॉर मी. इसकी वजह से मेरे 2 सवाल एंड के मारे गए. ये नहीं करता तो आई वुड हैव पॉसिबली अटेम्प्टेड 2 more questions.
62 was too long.
But it's a standard question. यही है कि स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन है, बट टाइम कंज्यूमिंग था. I should not have attempted this question.
63 जो है, अगर if the idea strikes you, it is simple. Otherwise,
किया नहीं होगा क्या लोगों ने पहले? I thought this is a standard type of question students would have done earlier.
I don't know, जिन्होंने ज्योमेट्री से
20% attempt और 20% accuracy. So overall, 4
Okay.
people have got it.
So geometry, I mean, वैसे भी I think a lot of people don't attempt. So I did not assume. I mean, I assume that people will not many people will do this. But if you get the idea, it looks like a very simple question. Because
yeah, triangle को आधा कर दोगे ना?
yes.
DTC are two triangles with same area. DTC.
नहीं
तो
सर,
खैर ये मैं
एक्चुअली
केवल सॉल्यूशन में देख सकते हैं लोग.
नहीं, एक्चुअली पता है क्या, सम ऑफ अपोजिट एरियाज अगर मिड पॉइंट से ज्वाइन करेंगे, सम ऑफ अपोजिट एरियाज विल बी सेम.
80, 60, 140, हाँ 44 आ जाता है. मैंने वो नहीं किया.
अच्छा.
मैंने इसमें थोड़ा सा यानी टाइम वेस्ट किया इसका मतलब.
नहीं, जब तक शिजांग ने ये वाला फंडा मुझे बोला कि ऐसे है, तो मुझे I didn't take it like that. Okay. Then question number 64. I mean, it is
लेंदी
I
क्वेश्चन.
don't know whether people find it long or short, but it could be a easy question because यहाँ पे कह रहा है कि x is greater than 1. So x into x plus 2y is equal to 144. It is now breaking it into two factors. So
देखो इसको उल्टी तरीके से किया मैंने. I have said y will be equal to 144 upon 2x minus x square upon 2x.
144 minus x square by 2x. हाँ, ठीक है.
हाँ, so that means it becomes 72 upon x minus x by 2. Now that means x has to be a factor of 72.
as well as multiple of 2.
उसमें से 2-3 नंबर 1, 9, 3 3 नंबर निकल जाते हैं, बाकियों का आ जाता है आंसर.
करेक्ट. 6 नंबर निकलते हैं. I mean 6 पेयर्स निकल जाते हैं.
नहीं 9 आ रहा था. आंसर 9 आता है मेरे ख्याल से.
139. हाँ, 139 नहीं हो सकता है.
हाँ,
X 139 नहीं होगा. उसी के साथ जो y का वैल्यू है वो 48, x is equal to 48 भी नहीं हो सकता. x is equal to 1 के साथ जो 144 भी नहीं हो सकता है. और
नहीं 1 के साथ 72 है ना.
16 भी नहीं होगा.
हाँ 72 नहीं हो सकता. जो भी है मेरे को याद नहीं आंसर क्या था इसमें, बट आई थिंक 9 लिखा था मैंने. 9 है. ठीक है फिर 9 आंसर ठीक है फिर.
65 is a question that could have stumped some people, right?
नहीं बहुत सिंपल एवरेज का सवाल है. वन लाइन इक्वेशन.
उसमें वही है कि जो 100% देख के लोग ये चौंके होंगे कि how did the average go down in spite of this guy getting 100%.
यस तो 50 नंबर में से मिला ना. एवरेज वुड बी मोर देन 60, मोर देन 50. एंड अगर 50 नंबर मिलेगा 2 बार तो दोनों बार एवरेज गिरेगा. उसके बाद उठने के लिए 100 नंबर ऊपर जाएगा.
करेक्ट. वो आइडिया मिल गया तो देन इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन.
ठीक है.
तो 66 जो
है लॉग आउट कर दूंगा. ठीक है.
हाँ, ठीक है. एंड 66 जो है आई थिंक I mean we will find that.
Sir, I think if someone knows the concept of lines, वो log में जो line वाला concept है कि एक पॉइंट से दूसरे पॉइंट का जो डिस्टेंस होता है,
modulus of x minus, if I say modulus of x minus 3 indicates the distance between x and 3 on the number line, right? If I approach it with that concept, I think then so I solve this by using that concept only. I think people can. 67 is a very different, very nice way of representing 9C2. Each member, I mean, I kind of imagined saying that committees are C1, C2, C3 till as rows, and the people as columns. So, for example, if you take one person is common to 2 committees, which means एक column में, I mean, there'll be 2 dots, right? So every column, the number of columns that you can have is equal to number of ways you can place 2 dots in those 9 rows. That's it. So the answer works out to be 9C2, right? And last question, I think, is one of the standard questions. So in effect, I think 6 to 7 questions are, I would call them easy, or maybe 6 questions. When we looked at it, we said ki 6 questions to sabhi log karni chahiye. That's what, I mean, when we released the test, quant mein, we expected that 6 attempts to hoga hi sabka. Hopefully, right? Of course, sabka nahi hua hoga, but a big chunk. And there were about 7 to 8 moderate questions. Looks like people have done a little better than I expected them to do. So in that sense, I think it is fine.
And this is
So let's look at analysis. Why 12 is an elegant number is what. कुछ questions ले लेते हैं क्या शशांक? Why 12 is an elegant number? 12 is an elegant, is not an elegant number. 12 is 2 squared into 3 to the power of 1. So 12 has got 6 factors. So it's not an elegant number. Take example 1 and 12 आप हटा दो. Which are the other factors? 4 other factors. 2 and 6, 12, 3 and 4. So when you actually multiply all the remaining factors, other than one and number itself, you will find that will work out to be not 12. You will see it will be 144. That's why it's not an elegant number. Yeah. Acha, Anvesha, I think the maybe the video solution will get uploaded. Video solutions has been done for quant section as well, right? Studious Self and Anvesha, I'll just check it. It has been, I mean, videos has been done. Maybe I think it's got just delayed a bit, but it will get uploaded definitely by tonight. Got the lowest marks of my entire life in this mock. It feels like giving up. No matter what, I can't improve on quant and DILR despite being an engineer.
Pranav, I would say give up on giving up. Fine. So if you have a bad day, go to your room, cry for some time, and wake up again and start working. And that's how it goes on. Everyone has bad days.
And if you I mean, got the lowest mark in your life, I think you must, the good silver lining should be that it is the lowest that you have hit, right? It can only go up from here. But don't give up. I think that's not a recipe for any success, right? There have been, I think it's important for all of you to understand that there have been multiple cases, and this is not just to kind of inspire you guys, but this is the reality. I know of student, I remember, I keep repeating the story. One kid from SRCC long time back, right? He went to Ahmedabad. He had never scored more than 93, 94 percentile. But on the day of the exam, something happened. The paper was a little easier. A lot of other people did not take it. Did not take or attempt it in a proper manner. This guy was bindas, saying that I have nothing to lose. He ended up getting a 98.5 percentile plus. And because he was from commerce, right, he was he got a call from IMA, finally converted it. So I think it will be foolish to think of giving up now, right? You just think that it's a bad day, pack up, couple of days, padhai mat karo, okay, revise kar lo, then get back to it. It can only go up from there.
And everyone has bad days.
5 questions, but 2 were correct. How can I improve my accuracy? Vidushi, I think thorough analysis करना पड़ेगा. देखो विदुषी, I think whatever mocks that you have taken till now, whether it is flexi mocks or the pro mocks, if you have not done a thorough analysis, right, I think scores will not improve. What I mean by analysis in my mind, in my language, is if I can explain it to somebody else how this question has to be solved, not mug up, but explain conceptually, I think that's a good analysis. if you're able to do with all the mocks, and trust me, right? If I'm able to pick all the mocks that we have created, I mean, I can talk about what we have created, flexis and pro mocks, and if you can explain to somebody else how each question solution is working out, you just stick to this. If you just manage to do this, I am certain that everybody will be able to get at least 7 to 8 questions right in CAT. So that's what it is. If the analysis is not very thorough, I think scores will not improve. So there is no rocket science in this.
So basically, ground rule is you write a mock, you analyze a mock, work on the weak areas, understand, explain, repeat the process. As simple as that.
Shubham also, I think it's the same thing with you, Shubham, right? तुम टॉपिक पे टॉपिक उठाओ, 2-3 दिन दो उस टॉपिक के लिए, क्वेश्चंस इकट्ठा करो जो मॉक्स के है, यहाँ जहाँ पे भी है आपने प्रैक्टिस किया है, see if you are able to solve them. Stuck at 4 to 5 attempts basically means that maybe, I mean, this is my assumption, that you have not had enough practice, or there are too many topics that you have decided that you're going to leave. And as Gita also keeps saying, right, and I also firmly believe in this, that till November, you guys have no business telling yourself, I'm going to skip this topic. Because the whole issue of putting all the eggs in that basket called arithmetic is a very, very risky strategy. You just need 2 tough questions in arithmetic to upset that apple cart. So please, if you want to increase, you don't have an option but to say algebra bhi मैं करूँगा, सब कुछ करूँगा. Till November, जो कुछ भी हो सकता है मैं कोशिश करूँगा. उसके बाद end of October, you decide. I mean, I correct myself, not November. End of October, you take a call that no, I'm going to leave these topics, and then. But till that time, you would have done basic questions. And in the exam, I'm not going to say I'm going to leave the topic. You're saying I'm going to not spend time for my rest of preparation. That doesn't mean that in the exam, you will leave the topic. What if the question was so simple that you would have straight away answered it? So that's...
And just, you are saying you are taking 5 minutes per question. So I am assuming in 40 minutes, you would be solving at least 7 questions. So are you getting a score of 21? So if you are getting a score of 21, you are good to go. Just need to decrease time in few questions. That's it. Getting 7 to 10 is not a big task. Moving from 10 to 14 is a big task, but 7 to 10 is not a big task. So if you are already starting at 7 questions, you are at a good place today. So don't worry about it. Eventually your time will decrease.
Sid, yeah, I mean, I agree with what I completely resonate with what Shashank is saying. Just कि 5 मिनट अगर ले रहे हो तो आपका ये कैलकुलेशन होना चाहिए कि मैं 5 मिनट दे रहा हूं, so I am getting, I mean, let's assume that you have done 7 questions, you must get at least 6 of them right. Now if you push yourself a little hard, maybe this 5 minutes will become 4 minutes in the next 90 days. If that happens, then obviously you're in a very good zone, right? So I think just keep pushing yourself hard. Sid says, this is my first mock, only not able to score even a single in DILR. Quant is my strong section, but spent too much time in solving a wrong question. My VARC is weak, but still cracked 6. कभी कभी लाइफ में ऐसे ही होता है, जो हम नहीं चाहते हैं वो हो जाता है, और जो चाहते हैं वो नहीं होता है, right? So solving a wrong question, I mean we can't keep repeating the same funda again and again. You must learn to leave questions. This is one single most important strategy that you must learn to imbibe if you want to maximize your scores. There's no other way. I mean, if you are saying that I spent 10 minutes solving one wrong question, I mean, you have no business doing it. Your job is not to come out and say, I did this brilliant question. Your job is to say that I have attempted as many as I could. I think that has to be you can't lose sight of what your target is.
So wind up, Karan.
Okay, so that's all from all the best, guys. I think Ajay, could one last thing for my our thing.
Shubham, बहुत बढ़िया. I hope you are doing great, Shubham.
Okay, sure, good. So almost एक सेमेस्टर खत्म होने को आ रहा होगा, आधा सेमेस्टर खत्म हो गया होगा शुभम को. Sir, could you please suggest some tips to practice DILR so that these kinds of mocks doesn't feel like a bouncer over the head? I don't know what is the material that you have, Bitan. I think whatever material that you have, right? I mean, if I were to talk about it, if you have enrolled with CL, I'll say that topic test karo, तुम्हारे booklets के गिने चुने जो questions करो, right? If you are a classroom student, make sure that all the worksheets are done. And if you are just a test series student, I'll say, boss, I mean, I keep hearing this very stupid suggestions that goes around ki, boss, do not do flexi marks, right? We keep seeing that people are doing flexi marks only towards the end. This happens year after year. There are so many questions of flexi marks that will challenge you, right? So flexi marks are there, CAT ke purane sets are there, mock ke sets are there. These are at least things that can keep you engaged for the next 30-40 days. If you're just a test series student, but whatever support material that you have to prepare, make sure that you sit with one or two sets every day. 2 sets a day it's like 2 apples a day wala story hai. It may not keep the doctor away completely, but I think it will definitely make you a lot more fitter. Okay, Shashank, I think we'll call it a day. See you guys. We'll catch up with you in the next mock. Good night.